All right, so as I was telling the class, right, today and the next lesson, right, will be on revision. Revision means that we'll be doing various topics together in one lesson. So maybe a little bit of prime factorization. Sorry, that's sec one. So maybe a little bit of algebraic fractions, a little bit of quadratic equation, a little bit of factorization, a little bit of solving, a little bit of direct and improper, indirect proportion and all this. Can? All right, so it's ultimately to prepare the students for the coming up test. So some schools, they have their tests in the later stage, like next week. That's the reason why we stretch the revision to next week. Okay, so those of you who have finished the test, good for you. Just treat it as a revision. All right, so it's no stress for you. Just go with the flow. That will be good. Can? All right, so last week, right, I gave a homework. Last week, I gave a homework to the class. This is actually the homework. So today, I'll be going through this homework with you guys first. All right, so as you can see, right, sec 1, sec 2, right, mainly, right, the topic is, a focus is on the algebra, things like expansion and factorization and solving also. All right, so all these are very important parts of the math that you need to know very well. All right, because in sec 3, right, your teacher will assume that you know all this already. All right, then they will go at a faster rate. So you need to be very strong in your factorization and algebra and your expansion and all this simple stuff. All right, if not, you will find a great difficulty in your sec 3. And some of you in sec 3, you are forced to take additional math. All right, so if you are forced to take additional math, right, you got no choice. You will think that, hey, I don't like math, but the teacher still asked me to take A math. All right, so sometimes you got no choice. You still have to take it, right? Yeah. Then in that case, how? You better start building on your foundation on your mathematics. Oh, okay. So let's take a look at this question first. This one is the homework from last week. You're supposed to factorize 36p squared minus q squared. Can? All right. So a quick revision. All right, a quick revision. Usually, right, when we talk about factorize, right, do you know how many stages there are? All right, I teach all my students. I teach my students that factorization, there are 4 stages. All right, let me let Sherman into the class first. All right, hello Ice, hello Sherman. I think it's Sherman. Yeah, why his name is like that? Sherman, is that you? Can you please change your name? It doesn't sound very nice. Okay, so usually, right, when we talk about factorization, right, thank you, Sherman. All right, usually when we talk about factorization, right, there are 4 stages. All right, stage 1, right, is in sec 1, we call it take out the common term. All right, so usually, right, I will take out the common term if there is a common term first. All right, common term means that everyone must have something similar. Everyone must have something similar. All right. That is called taking out the common term. Stage 2 is something I call split. All right. Factorization by split. So for split, right, you must understand there are 2 items. And inside these 2 items, both are perfect square. Both are perfect square separated by a minus sign. All right. So usually I will give all these simple notes. I think it will be easier. How come? Because all you got to do is to run through the 4 stages, right? Which stage does this question belongs to? That's your question. All right. Stage 3, right, is actually what I call cross factorization. All right, a quick summary, All right, and cross factorization is got 3 items involved, and of course you can use something called the cross factorization, or you can use something called the multiplication frame. All right, something like that. You've seen this before. That is for 3 items. And stage 4, right? Stage 4 is something called grouping. Grouping got how many items? Grouping got 4 items. So it's actually quite simple sometimes. You have to decide which method to use. All right, you have to decide which method to use. How do you decide? You look at the number of items. Look, this one, how many items are there? 1 item, 2 item. Both of them are perfect square. Perfect square means can be square rooted. 36 is a perfect square. P square is a perfect square. Q square is a perfect square. And guess what, children? Separated by a minus. Isn't this the 2 item down here? All right. So you factorize by something called split. So this one will be equal to Split means you open two bracket. All right. 36, how you split? What and what give you 36? 6 times 6, 36. P square is P times P, P square. Q square is Q times Q, Q square. And 1 plus and 1 minus. And that's the answer. Simple as that. Plus means plus, minus means minus. All right, so that's all. So factorization, if it's 2 items, is high chances is split. Factorization, if there are 3 items, high chances is cross factorization. 4 items is by grouping. All right, so down here, can you see that? 4 items, 1 item, 2 item, 3 item, 4 item. Can you see that? Okay, let's go and do B first. Without using a calculator, when you see this word without using a calculator, is it true that you cannot press the calculator? That's not true. That's not true. All right. Without using the calculator means that you have to show working. Right? You just got to show working, but you still can press your calculator because your teacher don't know. All right. Sec 2 can use your calculator already. Without using a calculator means that you have to show your working. Use your factorization result in part A to evaluate this. Can you see? Do a comparison. Can you see that the 36 down here actually represents the 36 up here? Can you see that the minus down here is actually the minus down here? The rest, the square and the square is the same. The P and the Q is the only thing that's different. The P is actually represented by a 70. And the Q is actually represented by a 320. Can you see now? So sometimes by you writing this out, right, it's very clear. Now what you do? The question asks you to use the factorization result. What? Where is the factorization result? Is this one down here? So you use it. Use it. Have an equal sign. All right. Have a big bracket. Have another big bracket. All right. There is a 6 down there. Put back the 6. There's a 6 down here. Put back the 6. What is P? P is a 70. So you exchange the 70 into it. No, that's my dog, Truffle. All right. And there's a Q. The Q is 320. So you put a 320 inside the bracket also. Can you see that? And they are separated by a plus and a minus, right? So a plus here and a minus here. So your teacher just want to see this working. Can you see that? Your teacher just want to see this working. Oh? Then what do you do next? Press the calculator lah. All right, press the calculator. Chen Feng, which part you don't understand? Is it the P and the Q portion? Okay, so if you want to compare, right, maybe you can do a comparison. All right, so on top, right, the question is 36 P squared minus Q squared. That's for part A. For part B, right, what do you see? Can you see that everything is the same, like 36? Then the bracket down here, they put a 70 squared minus 320 squared. That is part B question. So I need you, right, Chen Feng, to make a fair comparison. Can you see that the P actually represents the 70 here? Can you just compare fairly, you know, on top and below like that? Can you see? So the question, right, the question wants you to link back. The question wants you to link back to part A. So from here, right, this comparison, right, you must be able to see that P actually represents the 70 and Q actually represents the 320. That is the first thing that you need to observe. The second thing is you have to put back into the answer in part A. So what is the answer in part A? Answer in part A is given as 6P plus Q, 6P minus Q. So this part is okay, right? All right. So the P, right, you have to put it back now. All you got to do is to put back the P as 70 here and the Q as 320. Right? Because P and Q represents a number. Now they tell you that the P is 70 and the Q is 320. So all you got to do is to put it back. All right. And if you can understand up to here, right, what happened? You'll be at this stage already. And all you got to do is to what? Press the calculator. All right. Sure. They say never cannot use the calculator, but it's okay. All right. They just want to see the working only. Lavon, you can go. Yes, go. All right. And come back quickly. Thank you so much for telling me. So children, just got to press your calculator. 6 times 70 plus 320 equal to 740. So down here is 740. Your teacher just want to see the working. It's not that cannot press the calculator. 6 times 70 minus 320 is equal to 100. Show the working like that. Chen Feng, okay ma? And bracket means a multiplication. So answer is what? 740 with the 20 behind. So this is your answer. All right, so it's actually just a comparison. Yes, Ken, thank you so much for your reply. All right, so it's just a comparison. Look at the top and look at the bottom. All right, Sec 2, a lot of these are comparison one. All right, so please know what to do. Ken? All right, so sometimes they will use the word hence. Hence means you have to use what happens in part A to assist you. All right, so this word hence is also a very powerful word. Ken? And of course, the last step, what you do, children, y times 100, because down here, you press your calculator, 60 times 70 minus 320. That will give you 100. All right, so 6 times 70 plus 320, that will give you a 740. So 740 times 100 will give you a 74000. And the last step, children, just press your calculator, 36 open bracket, 70 close bracket, square, minus 320, bam, answer. What do you get? What do you get? Exactly, 74000. All right, so my calculator tells me that it's the correct answer. So it's correct lah. Can? So this is actually using something called split 2 items to help me to assist in part B. Oh, okay, come. Part C, part C is grouping. How you know it's grouping? Why? Look, how many items? 1 item, 2 item, 3 item, 4 item. And for me, right, children, my grouping, I have my own method. This is my own method. You only hear it in 88 tuition. And every time I do right, I do it correctly one. Okay, this is my method in 88 tuition. So let me write out the question first. 9p squared plus 6p minus 3pq minus 2q. Children, just listen to my method. All right, you might like it. So down here, what do? Always focus on the first pair. The first pair must have some common alphabet. It must have some common alphabet. Common number, good, but common alphabet, even better. Can you see that the P is common? Yes. Not only is the P common, the number 3 is also common. So down here, I purposely take out 3P. All right, I purposely take out the common term 3P. And what do I left down here? All right, 9P squared, I take out 3P, left with a 3P. There's a plus down here. 6P, I take out 3P, left with a 2. Is that correct? All right, so this is from the first pair. Children, trust me. What do? This 3P plus 2, right? Trust me, just copy and paste. Leave a space and copy and paste. Trust me. All right, your teacher don't teach it like that. Only I teach it like that. All right, and I hope that you can find it useful. Trust me, it works. So all you got to do is to copy and paste. Copy and paste. All right. Okay, now what do? Now, then you go and focus on the back portion down here. Don't care about the negative sign. Don't care about the negative sign. Look at the what? Look at the alphabet that is common. Can you see that Q and Q is common? Put the Q down here, outside the bracket. And in the center, always put a minus sign first. All right? Because it's either a minus sign or a plus sign. So you put a minus sign first. If it's a plus sign, what you do? All you got to do is to add in the stroke. Then it becomes plus already. All right? So this sign, right, in the center is either a minus or a plus. So you always put a minus first. And you do a check. Minus Q times 3P. Is it minus 3PQ? Hey, correct leh. Check again. Minus Q times 2. Is it minus 2Q? Hey, correct. Everything is correct. If it's correct, leave it. If it's wrong, just put the sign as a plus. It's either or. Okay, last step, children. Last step. What do? Can you see that this and this is the same? Why is it the same? Because you copy and paste just now, right? Duh. You copy and paste just now. That's why it's the same. So now what you do? You copy one set into your final step. All right. You copy one set into your final answer. And the remainder, what is the remainder? The remainder is the 3P, the minus, and the Q. That's called your remainder. Put in another bracket. And this is your answer, children. All right. If you follow my step, children, if you